This week reminded me of something that gets me through my worst days. Because honestly, this week was a struggle. The weather finally turned hot and summery, and part of me wanted to spend every second outside soaking it all in. But then the heat would hit, I'd feel drained, exhausted, and completely unmotivated. I felt pulled in two different directions. Part of me wanted to enjoy life, but part of me wanted to stay focused on my goals, and somehow neither side felt completely satisfying. So if I'm grading this week purely out of energy and motivation, it wasn't great. But that's not actually what stood out to me. What stood out was something much more important. This week's theme is simple: power of having a bare minimum. Because years ago, a week like this would have completely derailed me. I would have gotten overwhelmed, lost, and discouraged. I would have spent days spiraling because I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. There was no anchor, no direction, no plan. But somewhere along the way, I've slowly built a bare minimum. It definitely was not overnight or through some perfect routine. It was just one small habit at a time. And now, even on my most tired, distracted, unmotivated days, I know exactly what needs to happen. For me right now, my bare minimum looks like this: do the dishes once, have one homemade meal, drink at least one full bottle of water, take one shower, post one video. That's it. Not because those things magically fix everything, but because they keep me moving in the direction I want to be in. And movement creates momentum. The reality is, I didn't have a perfect week. I stayed up later than I wanted. I let myself get into that cycle of wanting just a little bit more time at night to decompress and relax. And then the next day suffered because of it. I also realized some of my eating habits need attention. After finally finishing my reflection on my weekly schedule, I found a few things that I want to experiment with. The first is closing the kitchen at 7 p.m. If I want something after that, tea is going to have to be the answer. The second is getting serious about my bedtime. I think a quick rinse off shower before pajamas might be the cue my brain needs to start winding down so I can be in bed by 10. Those are the experiments for next week. But before I even get to those solutions, I had a realization. The biggest win this week wasn't fixing anything. The biggest win was recognizing that I already had a foundation. Because when things got hard, I didn't stop. I didn't disappear or abandon myself. I did my bare minimum. Your bare minimum should be so clear and so simple that even on your worst days, you know exactly what to do. Not because you're trying to be productive, but just because that's what you do. Years ago, my bare minimum looked completely different. Back then, when life was falling apart and I couldn't think straight, my only goal was take a shower and get out of pajamas. That's it. My outfit might have been just sweatpants and a t-shirt, and I might not have been going anywhere, and I was definitely still feeling overwhelmed, but I got up, I moved, I changed my environment, and that small action created enough momentum for that one next step. And then the next step, and eventually enough days of those tiny actions started rebuilding my life. That's the lesson I'm taking from this week. A bare minimum isn't something you settle for. It's something you build. It's your safety net. It's your anchor. It's the thing that keeps you moving when motivation disappears. Because motivation comes and goes, energy comes and goes, life gets messy, schedules stop working. But when you know your bare minimum, you never have to wonder where to start. You already know, and that changes everything. So next week, I'm focusing on improving my evenings. I'm testing a closed kitchen after 7 p.m., but no matter what happens next week, one thing feels incredibly clear. Rebuilding your life isn't about becoming the woman who never struggles. It's about becoming the woman who always knows how to begin again. Because some days your best looks like crushing your goals, and some days your best looks like taking a shower, washing the dishes, posting one video, and calling it a win. Both count, and both matter. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't doing more, it's doing the few things that keep you moving forward. Because I think rebuilding your life happens in those tiny invisible moments. The moments where nobody is cheering and nobody is watching and nothing feels dramatic. It's the moment you wash the dish or take the walk or fill the water bottle or post the video or take the shower, and you quietly remind yourself that I'm still moving. And when you keep moving, even slowly, you're not really stuck. You're just building a momentum, one small step at a time. I'll see you next week.